Hi Shruti, good evening. We will start our session within 5 minutes. Then rest of the students will join. Till now, if you have any queries, Shruti, we will discuss. Today we will discuss block 2 and block 3. I'll try to finish block 2 and block 3 because we have only 4 sessions to complete our course. I'll try to finish it. Please, students, you need to read out first your course content and we will discuss if you have any queries, right? Because we are giving you counseling sessions. If you have any queries in your course content, we will discuss. Otherwise, I will start my course. Please go through your course content first, right?
Ma'am, your sound is very low, ma'am.
Everyone have facing the same problem.
Ma'am, I can't hear you properly. Your sound is very low, ma'am.
Is it my screen is visible to everyone?
Not yet. Not yet, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now it is visible.
So unit लास्ट क्लास वाला सबको समझ आया था? Is there any doubt from the last class?
No, ma'am.
So today we will start unit 4, block 1, block 2, unit 4. In this unit, we will discuss the prenatal development. All of you heard about that prenatal development? This prenatal development is divided into 3 trimesters. The first trimester is period of the ovum, second is period of the embryo, and period of the third trimester is period of the fetus. A whole pregnancy period is divided into 3 parts. The period of the ovum, this period lasts from conception to 2 weeks. During this period, the single cell zygote begins to multiply rapidly and form several dozen cells. This mass of cells differentiate into an inner and outer layer of cells separated by a hollow cavity. Right? The group of inner cells will form the baby. In the first trimester, next is the period of the embryo. The term embryo is used to refer to the developing baby from the time of implantation until the beginning of bone formation. In other words, this period begins from the third week after conception and end in the eighth week. During this period, cell division continues and cells differentiate into various types. Development during this short period of 5 weeks is very rapid. This period is crucial in prenatal development since it is now that all the major organs, tissues, and system of the body are being formed. The most rapid development of a majority of the organs and system occurs during this period and in the early part of the fetal period, up to 12 weeks after conception. Right? Most of the body structure of the infant is developed during this period. And the last is period of the fetus. Period of the fetus. This period extends from the beginning of the ninth week until birth. Its beginning is marked by the development of the bone structure. During this period, reinforcement and development of the various body systems take place. Now the growth of the head region slow down and rest of the body grow more rapidly. In the last session, we discussed now how the body developed during prenatal period in the head to toe form, and after birth, body develops to center to outward form. Right? All of you remember? We discussed this.
Yes, ma'am.
Birth of the child. When the baby positions itself head downwards in the mother's body, the mother's feeling lightened pressure on the upper abdomen and by greater pressure upon the bladder. This lightening which the mother feels because of the shifting of the baby's weight is the first sign that birth may occur within a few days. The presence of a trained person during the birth process is important, whether the delivery is at home or in the hospital. A child is born with well-developed and functioning sensory capacities of vision, hearing, touch, and smell. In fact, research has now shown that some of these capacities are functioning even before the child is born. These things all are history said that Abhimanyu learned everything during mother's womb, right? This is actually true. Hearing ability is developed during prenatal period. Care of the mother during pregnancy. During pregnancy, nutrition is very important, and without prescribing, medicine should not be consumed. And health care is very important, and as well as emotional support is very important during pregnancy. If mother is happy, so definitely child will grow happily. And smoking and alcohol consumption should not be using on that time. Heavy drinking and excessive smoking during pregnancy can lead to low birth weight of the infant. The infant is also likely to be less active in the first few months. Additionally, alcohol also cause deformities of the fetus, eyes, ears, and heart, development of extra finger and toes, and abnormally smaller head, small head. Next is physical physical, motor, and sensory development of the neonate. Very few. What is the difference between neonate and infant? Anyone knows? What is the difference in neonate and infant? Neonate is called newborn baby. 1 month period is that we can call neonate.
Ma'am, infant is 1 month to 1 year age.
Right. The first month of life is called neonate. When the baby, when the child is born, she has to adjust to an environment which is very different from the one in the mother womb. Right. Firstly, neonate should learn how to breathe. So respiratory systems will work automatically after birth. So few hours is very important, right? Few hours, and that Apgar scale is there. So doctor is just evaluating the neonate if their heartbeat is working properly, their weight, her weight is appropriate or not, or her limbs are working properly, or her respiratory system is working properly or not. That Apgar scale is helped to evaluate the baby is normal or not, right? So first few hours is very important. The neonate should be fed at the breast from the first day itself. This helps to induce and maintain secretion of milk. The milk secreted for the first 2 or 3 days is a thick yellowish fluid called colostrum, which has a high protein content as well as certain substances that are good for the baby as they build resistance to disease. It is extremely important that the child has this milk. Capabilities of the newborn. The newborn is not helpless even though it may seem so. Contrary to belief, she has many abilities. She is born with several well-developed motor and sensory capabilities that help her to perceive, understand, and adjust to the new environment. Motor capabilities of the newborn, like reflexes. Any one of you heard about reflexes? What are reflexes? That term reflexes. Any one of you heard
A
about?
physical movement, ma'am. Physical movement of the baby.
No, not exactly physical movement. These things are inherent. Nobody teaches the child how to sneeze, how to cough, how to swallow, how to. Can you understand that? How you grasp? These are inherent things. अब जैसे न्यूबॉर्न बेबी born होते हैं, everybody knows he or she just cry first. No one teach him na how to cry. He just start crying. So these things comes in reflexes. What is that rooting reflex? Please underline these reflexes are important. Sometimes short note comes on this topic. Right? Rooting reflex. Have you ever noticed if you placed a finger on the over the face and child just try to take that finger into the mouth? Any one of you experience this? This is called rooting reflex. आप फिंगर कहीं पे भी रखिए फेस पे बच्चे के, बच्चा कोशिश करता है मुंह में लेने के लिए उसको, राइट? दिस इज कॉल्ड रूटिंग रिफ्लेक्स because root that reflects mouth is the only source where the child feel to other person, right? Next is sucking reflex. Infant or neonate just start sucking, breast sucking or milk sucking. And next is swallowing. After sucking, the infant swallow. He suck milk and swallow inside, right? So nobody teach it. Grasp. Grasping is everybody knows maybe. Any example who can, anyone who can give this? What is that grasping?
It's a learning power, ma'am.
Grasp how baby hold the objects. Neonate or infant easily hold the thing because he know how to hold it, but he does not know how to release it. Have you ever noticed कि बच्चे कई बार क्या होते हैं आपने गोद में लिया एकदम आपके बाल पकड़ लेते हैं और छोड़ नहीं पाते because he know how to hold but he don't know how to release it. Okay, so that's called as grasping. Babinski. If you stroke the baby on the sole of her foot, she first spread her toes and then curls them. कभी नोटिस करें बच्चे को उठाने के लिए we just give that pressure on the foot. Moro reflex. On hearing a loud sound, or please sometimes the differentiation comes in Babinski and Moro. Moro reflex. Underline this: Babinski reflexes and Moro reflex. And hearing a loud sound or getting any kind of physical shock, such as when the support from the head is suddenly removed, the baby throws out her arms and arches her back. Next is tonic neck. If the infant's head is turned to one side, the arm and leg of that side extend while those on the other side bend. I think these reflexes are finished. Next is sensory capabilities. The neonate has various sensory capabilities. On the basis of many research studies, it is now known that the eyes, ears, and other sense organs function in a remarkable manner from birth onwards. Neonates react to touch, heat, and cold and can distinguish certain sound, taste, and smell. During this period, child just feel their mother smell, mother sound, right? His vision is actually very low. He is not able to understand his mother face, right? He's just analyze her mother voice, smell, and touch. Next, the newborn routine. Infant sleep. It would be interesting for you to know that we all have two types of sleep states. Rapid eye movement sleep. In this sleep state, our eyes move rapidly. Beneath the eyelids, our heart rate, blood pressure, and breathing becomes uneven, and some body movement also occur. Sleep occurs when we dream. You must have noticed other in such sleep state. Non-rapid movement sleep. In this sleep state, our body is almost motionless and our heart rate and breathing are slow and regular. The neonate sleep for about 16 to 18 hours in a day and is alert and active for about 6 to 8 hours. If you have observed an infant under the age of 1 month closely, you would have noticed that she has different levels of activity at different times of the day. An important implication of this cycle for the caregiver is that the best time for interaction with the infant is just after she has been fed and is active. Next unit is physical, motor, and sensory development during infancy and puberty. This unit is actually very long and important. Sensory capabilities of the newborn. These are tools which help her to adjust to her immediate surroundings. But she has to do more than this. She has to adjust the direction and distance of the sound source. She has to understand that a specific voice and face belong to one person. She has to learn to pay attention to detail and discriminate between two similar looking things. I told you about her vision is not so clear. All this depends on the development of the senses, right? Like changes in the body, size and shape. By the time the child is 1 year old, her weight is 3 times the weight at birth. She weighs about 8 to 9 kg on an average. The body grows about 10 to 12 inches in length in the first year. Development of bones. During first to 3 years, till the 3 years, most of the milky teeth were appear in this age. And the shape and proportion of the body change considerably. In the first year, the neonate has a large head, narrow shoulder and short leg. As the legs and the torso grow in the first year. The body look more proportionate. The bones, which are soft and flexible, harden in the period of the infancy, and the muscles increase in size. And development of the brain. Most of the nerve cells of the brain are present at birth. In the first year, the connection between them develop and increase in number. The cells also grow in size. These changes in the brain and nervous system are enormously important. They cannot be seen. The first 2 years are crucial for the development of brain and nervous system. Right? We already discussed that few first 6 years are very important too for the development of the baby, as well as because at the age of 6, 70% brain is developed. Motor development. Motor development is divided into two parts. One is gross motor skills, and next is fine motor skills. Gross motor skills we can easily understand from the word gross, like big muscles, like our legs, hands, right? And fine motor skills like our fine, like our small body parts, like eyebrow, fingers, lip movement. These comes in fine muscles. Gross motor skills are those which require coordinate of the large muscle of the body like the shoulder, elbow, thigh and back. Activities like running, walking, jumping, pushing, pulling, throwing, catching and swinging. Swimming, sorry. Swimming are those which involve the large muscles. And fine motor like which involves small muscles like those of the wrist and fingers. Picking up object, holding them, writing and painting are some activities that involve small muscles. Gross motor skills like walking. Children begin to walk independently sometimes between 11 to 15 months of age. When the child first attempt to walk, her feet are spread apart, the toes are turned onward, and the arms are held away from the body for better balance. While walking, she does not bend her legs from the knee, but instead swings them from the hips, which make her walk a little stiff. The child toddler, hence the name toddler. By the time she is 16 to 18 months old, she can push a small table on a chair while walking. At this age, she also pick up toys and other light articles to carry them from one place to another. Right? Running. Walking leads to running. Initially, many toddlers combine walking with running into a hurried walk. The movement of the toddler while running are jerky and her stops and start are not controlled. She runs for a short distance, falls down, gets up and begins to run again. The ability to run steadily with controlled start and stop develop over the preschool years. Climbing stairs. In the period of 19 to 24 months, the toddler can climb stairs if someone holds her hand. She can, however, go up and down the stairs by herself on all four using her legs and arms in a combination of stepping and crawling. Between the second and third year, she can climb stairs by alternating her feet while holding onto something. Next is jumping. Emerges as toddler experiment with stepping down from stairs or boxes. In their first attempt at jumping, toddlers step off with one foot but are fearful to let go with the other. By 2 years of age, most toddlers can jump from a low platform with both feet. Like fine motor skills, grasping and anyone knows what is the difference between scribbling and drawing? What is that grasping? I told you about grasping. As a newborn baby, how to grasp. But at this age, second year age, 15-month old can pick up things using the thumb and forefinger. The skill of using the forefinger and thumb to hold an object is very important and is used for many tasks in our day-to-day life, such as writing, buttoning, clothing, and eating. Any one of you observe that when the child is holding pen or a spoon, anything, he's just using whole palm to hold a object. Any one of you observe this?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
At this age,
Yes,
child,
ma'am.
that's why we are giving a big size of or maybe thick size of crayons to them. We are not giving pencils to them in the beginning stage. We just try to give them uh, big size of or thick size of crayons because it's easy to hold. So, what is the difference between scribbling and drawing? Anyone? In the
Scribbling, they don't have any size, shape, nothing. Just they will scribble on the thing, whatever they are having. The
having
hand movements will be not very perfect.
perfect,
Something they will be doing.
right? So it's called scribbling.
Yeah.
Games of throwing and catching, right? Playing with ball. Interests a toddler, but her skill in this is elementary. Perhaps you have played a game of throwing and catching a ball with a toddler. It would be interesting to write your description to her action in the space. While trying to catch, the 3-year-old prepare to receive the ball by extending her arms stiffly. But as the ball approaches, she flinches and lose track of it, right? Actually they try to hold it, but they are not able to catch the balls because they are not understanding the distance and force of the ball, right? Development of sensory capacities like vision, By the time the infant is 2 months, her brain develops further and the ability of focus on objects improves. She is able to see objects whether they are near or far. This makes it possible for her to observe toys placed near her and to reach for them. Being able to see the objects that are further away clearly allow the baby to recognize objects and people when they are at distance. By the time infants are 2 or 3 months old, they pay attention to the details of objects. This helps them to discriminating among things. They seem to be able to distinguish familiar objects from unfamiliar ones. Infants at 3 months of age can tell their parents' faces from those of others. They can also see colors. Researchers have shown that 5 to 6 months of age, most infants can discriminate between different emotional expressions on the mother faces, such as sadness, fear, joy, alarm, or surprise. Hearing abilities. That the neonate can orient to the approximate direction of the sound. During the first few months of life, infants attend to different sounds, and by 6 months, they are usually able to judge the direction of the sound source correctly. Much before this, when they are month old, they can discriminate between different sounds such as bell ringing, the grandmother singing, or a knock on the door. Infants are also responsive to rhythm. They are soothed by rhythmic sounds such as music or ticking of the clock. Very loud sound cause distress and they respond by falling their arms and legs and crying. Smell, taste, and touch. These three senses are more developed than is commonly believed. As the child grows, these senses become more finely tuned and she is able to detect and respond to more subtle differences in the stimuli. Right, in this age, they can easily smell because I told you they just uh, recognize her mother's smell and taste. If you give 2 months old child to just a salty thing, he will not taste it again. If he tastes once, he will not uh, taste the again the same thing. Touch. A child, infant have that sense of touch. He can easily observe that if somebody is holding him or her, or he feels secure there or not. Right? Is there any doubt till now? Importance of physical, motor, and sensory development. With the increasing motor skills, rapid physical growth, and refinement of sense organs, the child range of activity increases. With increased freedom of movement, the changing physical, motor, and sensory skills of the infant also influence the way people respond to her and the nature of interaction between them. Right? We just discussed how the child can easily understand her mother face expression at this age. So he can easily understand how you interact with in a good gesture or happily or with the sad or with the sorrow. He can easily feel that. The senses is so strong in this age. Thirdly, as a child begin of master new skills, she also develop positive feeling about herself. Because in this age, child just learn how. Can you? Any one of you observe that if you give one any object to the baby and he or she try to do again and again the same activity. He's just following the object and again you pick up and again he will throw it while doing the again and again because he love to do that the same activity because he or she feels that I can do something, right? I can do something, so it give them positive feeling about herself. Next is unit 8. As such, unit 7 and 8 is just are the same, but at the difference is only the age. Rest of the factors we discussed in unit 6 are the same in unit 7 as well as in 8. I just go through the unit 8 with you. During middle childhood, year 6 to 10 years, physical growth and development continue slowly but steadily, right? At we discussed that the first to 3 year of old child, just their growth is very high, but at this age, middle childhood age, the growth is just slow down. The trunk elongates, becomes slimmer due to loss of baby fat. The chest broadness and flatten, and the neck become longer. The proportion of the head to the total body length decrease further. The growth of the legs is most prominent feature during middle childhood years. Children appears thin and acquire a gawky look. Their appearance is described as all arms and legs. During middle childhood years, the bones of the baby lengthen and broaden and muscles also grow in strength. However, ligaments are not firmly attached to the bones. As a result, children have greatly flexible body movements. Children's muscular strength and motor coordination also increase. As a result, children strive to refine their gross and fine motor skills, which were established during early childhood years, and also acquire new gross and fine motor skills to which they are exposed. Right at this age, they can easily write. They can easily improve their handwriting as well as they start drawing. They start coloring. Right, they can do easily. But piercing, they just creative new things, right? Because they're fine muscles working in a proper manner. From age 6 to 11 years, gradually all 20 primary teeth are replaced by the permanent teeth. As far as brain development is concerned, process like mineralization of neurons, which is most rapid in the frontal cortex of the brain, elongation of dendrites, and formation of more and more synaptic connections, along with pruning of unimportant synaptic connection continues to occur. The brain becomes more organized due to these processes. The sequence of development of motor skills during middle childhood, yes, depends on the child's ability and the encouragement and the opportunities available to her in her environment. Data from various investigations of simple and complex gross motor tasks suggest that boys age of 6 and 12 years excel girls in tasks that require more leg strength and power, while girls are superior to boys in visual motor coordination. Because we already discussed that girls' uh, growth is faster than boys. However, many of these conventional gender differences are disappearing with the increased popularity of sports activities among girls. I think, is there any doubt till now? Because this unit 9, 10, 11 and 12, who all units are very important and very lengthy units. Any doubt till now?
No, ma'am.
Because all these things are just related to the development. But now we will discuss about the cognitive part. And cognitive development is actually very important factor of our development. Anyone of who want to say about what is cognition?
Pardon, ma'am. What have you asked?
Cognition. Because now cognition units are actually very important. What is that? What is cognition? I told you about that. Cognition is mean whatever activity we are doing or we are using our mind comes in cognitive development. Even it's written there, mental action or process of acquiring knowledge, truth and thoughts, experience in the senses. जो भी हम सुनते हैं, फील करते हैं, जो भी हम कर सकते हैं, जो भी हम सोचते हैं, everything comes in the cognitive part. In the last class, I told you that every like shape, size, color concept, number concept, everything comes in cognitive. Anyone who want to say something? I think what is learning? Anyone know about learning? We all are learning. What is that? Learning. Today we are learning new things. It actually help you to change your behavior or to change your cognitive development. I'm just asking the question to you. Today we are learning so many new factors. It is actually help you to change in your behavior, or change in your cognitive development. Think quite wisely. जो भी हम सीखते हैं, whatever we learn, it comes in cognitive, right? We have the logical reasoning abilities, we have a logical thinking ability. Everything comes in cognitive. What is learning? Relatively permanent change or modification in an individual knowledge or behavior take place as a result of practice or experience, interaction with the environment. We discussed that hereditary and environment affects the development of the baby, of the person, right? The first major aspect of the learning process is that involves certain changes or modification in the person's knowledge or behavior or both, right? Right now, this line is actually suits us because we are just changing modification in the person's knowledge. You have, all of you have these kind of knowledge. We are just doing the same thing. Is it true or not? आप सबने ये सब चीजें शायद कहीं ना कहीं ऑब्जर्व करी है, सुनी हुई है पहले से. All of you know that.
Yes, ma'am.
The second major aspect is that changes of or modification in behavior must be relatively permanent. The third important aspect of the process of learning is that the changes in behavior take place through practice or experiences, right? In learning, there is a two way of learning. Anyone who can explain what are the two ways of learning? It is not written in your book. I'm just asking you. आप अपने आप कभी कुछ याद करते हैं स्कूल टाइम या कैसे याद करते हो? Yes.
Learning by their own experience
Okay.
or by listening to the people, or that is the caretaker or anyone teacher, like what they are saying, they are learning from them.
Learning through experience, learning by doing, doing by learning. What is
Yeah,
that?
learning
What is the
from the
difference
caretaker or
between,
the teachers.
right? Learning by doing, I'll just give you two words. Understand carefully. Learning by doing and doing by learning.
Mm.
What is that? Learning by doing and doing by learning. There is a two way only, learning by doing and doing by learning. We are again and again doing the same thing. एक बार गलत हुआ दोबारा किया. We are just again and again doing the same thing when till that when we exactly do the same thing till that when we reach the exact position, when we are doing a mathematical problem, when we are solving a mathematical question, we are doing again and again when we not getting the proper answer, right? तो हम क्या कैसे सीख रहे हैं? हम बार बार करके कोई काम सीख रहे हैं. जैसे बच्चा है, पहले गिरता है, बहुत बार गिरेगा, फिर एक बार चलना सीखेगा, राइट? प्रैक्टिस मैन मेक परफेक्ट. वही सेम बात है. हम डूइंग बाय लर्निंग है, और लर्निंग बाय डूइंग जैसे अभी हम सीख रहे हैं पहले, हाउ यू विल बिहेव विद द स्टूडेंट्स, वी आर जस्ट डिस्कसिंग दैट ना. और ये आप सीख के कैसे स्कूल जाके बिहेव करते हो, हाउ यू बिहेव विद स्टूडेंट्स, वी आर जस्ट डिस्कसिंग द फैक्टर हाउ टू बिहेव, हाउ to show gesture in front of the students when you become a teacher, right? Learning may occur consciously or without conscious awareness. It may occur informally as we experience the day-to-day situations, or it may take place in a formal manner within a teacher-student relationship, such as in a school system. Relationship between cognition and learning. Learning and cognition are two sides of the same coin. They go hand in hand. Children's cognitive development start from the earliest days of life, and so does learning. Yes, learning also. Learning is possible due to cognition, and learning change cognition. Is this true? That lines learning is possible due to cognition and learning changes cognition. In the last class, I just give you that example. If the person getting the proper environment of learning, if if he or she having a hereditary issue in learning mathematics, but he have the proper environment to learn the mathematics, so definitely their cognition will change. Understand? Learning changes cognition. When you learn properly, definitely your cognition part, number of concept will improve. Understand this point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Learning is defined as the process by which a relatively permanent change or modification in an individual knowledge or behavior takes place as a result of practice or experience interaction with the environment. During the early 20th centuries, behaviorism developed as a school of thought. It rejected introspection as a method and emphasized studying behavior objectively. So, psychology became equated with the study of behavior instead of study of thinking or inner mental process. Gasly psychologists did not agree with the model of behaviorism. Gasly theorists believe that our mind actively organizes incoming information and tries to impose a unity on what we experience through our sense so that we perceive the information in a holistic manner. As such, this is very important behavioristic view. Behaviorism and its implication or learning. As such, this unit is important. This is type of learning you can say. The first psychological perspective to have a significant impact on our understanding to how human beings learn was behaviorism. In the preceding para, we have seen the behaviorist organism enter the world as blank slate. What is that blank slate? What does it mean blank slate? Anyone?
Without any prior knowledge or anything, just new
Right,
and
like
ready to receive information.
right, right. Like a newborn baby. जो आप उसको सिखाओगे वो सीख जाएगा. Right? He
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
blank slate. A newborn baby is just a blank slate. What kind of environment, what kind of teaching skills, or what kind of behavior he will learn accordingly, right?
Yes.
Some innate behaviors, like example, instinct, are also innate. There are certain changes in the behavior that can be associated with the normal growth of individual and are related to the maturation. I'll just give you the example of this. What is the maturation, right? Newborn baby having their both hands, all 10 fingers developed, but he is not able to do the same activity because their maturation level is not appropriate to doing the same task. Right? He cannot write, he cannot walk, he cannot sit properly because their readiness, their maturation of at this age is not associated with the normal growth of an individual and are related to the maturation. What kind of it is of two types of learning. What is classical conditioning and operant conditioning? It is important. Sometimes question comes on this topic.
Ma'am,
Hmm.
so you mentioned the term maturation, and also,
Maturation.
yeah,
Not
maturation and also biological readiness. Does
right.
both the terms mean the same, or is there any difference? Or did I miss anything?
No, 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 it's the same thing.
Okay. Oh, all right. Okay.
There's a two theorists who just give that experiments. One is the Pavlov and one is Skinner. Give this behaviorist theory, and he just doing some experiments on dogs or as well as one experiment on rat. This is an experiment on classical conditioning was the first time conducted by Pavlov on dogs. What is that? Natural stimulus and no response. I'll just explain you this. If the present sound of bell to the animal such as dog, it will not care of it. Second time you present the sound of the bell and food. Food is unconditioned stimulus. Suppose when you give first in the first time in the very beginning, you just rang a bell, but there is no response shown by the dog. When you doing the same activity again and again and again, then when you rang a bell and give the food, salivation definitely comes out, right? When you rang a bell first and give food, no response. The dog does not show any response. Again, you doing the same activity, rang a bell, give the food, no response. Third or fourth time again you doing the same activity, rang a bell, then you observe salivation comes out. Maybe you give the food or not, right? So that's why it's called unconditioned food stimulus or unconditioned response of salivate. That bell is the conditioning thing. All of you just go to your childhood age when you were in school. In every school there is a uh, ringing bell, lunch break bell, and you feel just you feel hungry. Why? Because your conditioning is with the bell, right? You conditioned with the bell. When bell rang and I feel hungry. Is this happen or not with the school children?
Yes.
They just understand this is my lunch time because I'm coming back from the school. They feel hungry because I'm coming back from the school. At the same time, when they have a holiday, the same clock sets to their body, right? If they are in home, but still they feel hungry on the same timing because they're conditioning with the school. They're conditioning with the bell. The same example they done with dog. Who done this? Pavlov. There are few other characteristics of classical conditioning, namely spontaneous recovery, stimulus generalization, and stimulus discrimination. Spontaneous recovery is the recurrence of a conditioned response when a period of extinct is following by a rest period. In our earlier example, you may probably have experienced that after being conditioned to fear of a white rat, the person becomes afraid of a rabbit, a dog, or a fur coat and cotton wool. When individuals respond to other stimuli in the same way, and they respond to conditioned stimuli, stimulus generalization is occurring, right? Because their conditioning is happen with the white fur. Maybe it's from the dog, maybe it's from the rat, or maybe it's from the rabbit. I think this is clear. Stimulus or object is to the conditioned stimulus, the greater the probability that stimulus generalization will occur. But in certain cases, we also make discrimination between the object stimuli. A child who is abused by his or her father's stimulously has positive interaction with other adult men. He or she is not as likely to generalize the fear of his her father of those other individuals. Maybe just in the book, just giving the example of fearless as well as the positive experiences also there. I just read one example with you, this classical conditioning class. Neha was admitted to class third about a month ago. After joining the class, she found that her maths teacher is very dose scolds the children and beats them very often. Once Neha was also subjected to this treatment. Thereafter, it has so happened that whenever her maths teacher entered into the class, Neha becomes nervous even if she is not scolded or beaten by the teacher. Understand what is the negative conditioning will happen? Is the same conditioning with can happen with positive conditioning also can bring, right? When father comes after office and he gets some special gifts to the children, so that conditioning will also happen. When father come back from the office, he will get a sweets for us. He will give some positive things, as well as we can condition to the school children also. Positive conditioning we can do this from this. Any example those who can give how we create a positive in a positive way? When we praise a student, how we can praise? If we are doing a one, maybe one student is very good in communication or one student is very good in writing. So when you doing a good writing work, so teacher give you star or smiley. So positive and reinforcement give you the same conditioning. I'll write a good handwriting, teacher give me the star, right? So positive conditioning also happen with this activity. Next is Skinner theory, is called the theory of operant conditioning. Pavlov given the classical conditioning and Skinner gave us operant conditioning. Learning by doing or in operant conditioning increase or decrease in the likelihood that behavior will occur is affected by delivery of a rewarding or punishment. Even after the behavior occur, it is usually voluntary, not reflex like as in classical conditioning. In operant conditioning, the response is not automatically elected by a specific stimulus as happened. In classical conditioning, just the presence of the book stimulus does not elect the reading behavior. The connection between stimulus and behavior is immediate by the consequences of the behavior. Thus, the model of operant conditioning gives more control to both the person and the environment in determining what will get strengthened and what will not as compared to classical conditioning. Operant conditioning is totally based upon reinforcement. According to Skinner, a response that is followed by a reinforce in strengthened and is therefore more likely to occur again. In the words, response that are reinforced tend to increase in frequency because a response increase is a change in behavior. A behaviorist would assume that reinforcement bring about learning. Skinner found that rats will learn to press metal bar and pigeon will peek at round plastic disc to get pellets of food. राइट स्किनर ने अपना एक्सपेरिमेंट पिजन पे और रैट पे किया था लाइक पेवलोव ने डॉग पे किया था when the rat doing the same activity again and again and press metal bar and pigeon will peek at round plastic disc to get pellets of food, right? Likewise, the example is that Tina will increase her housekeeping behavior if it allow her to see a friend, and Sohan will do just about anything if the price is right. The infant will smile and respond more if it gains the attention and approval of adults around her. Theory of operant conditioning is totally based on reinforcement. It is both appropriate if discuss the salient characteristic of reinforcement. Positive reinforcement. Reinforces are two types, primary and secondary. Reinforces such as food, water, sleep, and temperature are themselves sufficient enough to elect a response. Right? Sometimes we just bribe a child, or we can say, give primary thing. If you do this, I will give you chocolate. If you do this, do that, I will give you your favorite ice cream. Right? I will buy a favorite ice cream to you. This kind of primary reinforces help to do that operant conditioning. Like secondary reinforces, when paired with primary reinforces, take on the reinforcing properties of their own, such as praise, smiley, and other signals of approval. Like when the child is doing good, showing the good gesture, you just give a hug to them. If the student doing very good work in school, so you just gave the smiley or you just gave the star to them. So they feel positive reinforcement. This is a positive reinforcement to the student. Depending upon the administration of reinforcement, four different procedures of reinforcement have been identified. Positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, punishment, and extinction. We discussed the positive reinforcement. positive reinforcement. Now we will discuss negative reinforcement. This means strengthening a behavior by removing an aversive, displeasing situation. Is something not conducive to the organism in the process of learning, such as an aversive high-pitched tone, an electric shock, extreme cold or heat, social loneliness. Negative reinforcement is therefore removal of an already operating aversive stimulus. What is that? Like punishment refers to the removal of something positive from the situation or adding something negative to the situation. Punishment, it can be any kind of, not a physical punishment, or you are just student. Just give me a second, I'm just muting myself.
Can you repeat the question once, ma'am, please?
Sorry students for the inconvenience. Punishment, it can be any kind of. Any example you can give this? Negative reinforcement. If you say your child, if you are not learning this, or if you are not finishing your work, I will not give you the toffee, I will not give you a chocolate. This kind of negative reinforcement happen. Or maybe you are, if you are not finishing your work, so I will not take you out, या आपको घुमाने नहीं ले जाऊंगी, या कहीं हम लोग मूवी जा रहे हैं तो वो नहीं जाएंगे, या मैंने आपको प्रॉमिस किया था कोई टॉय दिलाने का, आई विल नॉट गिव यू दैट. So this kind of negative reinforcement can be given. Uh, and this is also punishment to the child if you're not giving a favorite food to them, favorite toy to them, right? This kind of punishment you can give them. Extinction refers to the removal of a reinforcer that is helpful in increasing or sustaining a behavior. This is generally used to remove undesirable behavior from the behavioral portion of a child. It is based on the principle pay no attention to undesirable behavior. To reinforce continuously or partially is an individual choice not necessarily a part of the same process. Also, partially reinforcement is more effective than continuous reinforcement. Partial schedule of reinforcement is more effective than continuous reinforcement. If you're giving every time the same positive reinforcement, so student will not feel good. Look, he does not feel that, oh, I'll do the good thing, so that's why I'm receiving this. He just feeling, okay, I'm getting. So partial schedule of reinforcement can be of two types, ratio and interval. The basic difference between ratio and interval schedule is that of frequency and timing. In case of ratio schedule, the emphasis is on the number of activities a child does, solving 5 addition problems, learning a poem, like right? And shaping. Last one is shaping. Related to it is an important concept of shaping. Parents and teachers, as suggested by Skinner, can shape, inculcate any behavior among children with the appropriate use of reinforcement. This method is also known as method of successive approximation. To shape a particular behavior, you begin by reinforcing the first response that in any way of approximates the desired behavior and continue or reinforcing that response until the organism emits its fairly frequent, right? Any doubt till now, students? What is social learning theory? Because till now we discussed operant conditioning, classical conditioning, the all these are the learning methods. And next is Bandura social learning. Learning which take place through others, observation, learning or imitation or modeling. The person whose behavior your imitates is called a model and your action is called modeling. What is that? Every child just doing the same thing. How many of you observe that child imitates their parents? Sometimes they imitate cartoon characteristics. Sometimes they feel like they just model someone, right? It can be anyone. Maybe a boy child feel model to their father. Look, he feel my father is my model. So he just imitating his father or maybe grandparents, grandfather or any other uh, important person or any hero, right? Anyone. So child learns doing the same activities according to that person. Almost every instance of people watching other and learning from them, little boys often emulate hero figures like Superman and Chacha Chaudhary through watching and copying one another. Pre-adolescent girls often being to behave in similar ways, such as dressing like and wearing their hair in fetish style. Children imitate their parents by developing similar hobbies and interests, by expressing similar political and religious belief, and by eventually raising their own children using the same disciplinary techniques used on them. How does observation learning occur? Attention. For a behavior to be modeled, an individual must first pay attention to the model and especially to significant aspects of the modeled behavior. Example, if a child wants to learn how to play cricket, he should watch how to successful batsman holds the bat, distance between the legs and so on. Paying attention to the irrelevant part of the model will of course not be helpful. Right? If the child wants to learn cricket, he should observe Sachin or Dhoni rather than other sportsmen. Right? Retention. The second step in learning from a model is to remember the behavior that has been observed. People store both verbal representation, such as step by step instruction, and visual images of the behavior they have seen. Next is motor reproduction process. The third component in modeling is to replicate the behavior the model has demonstrated. When an individual lacks the ability to reproduce and observe behavior, perhaps because of physical immaturity, lack of strength, or disability, this third step obviously cannot occur. Reproduction of an observed behavior at the time it is observed is often helpful because it provides an opportunity for learner to receive feedback about how to improve their reproduction of that behavior. Reinforcement and motivational process. The final component of modeling is to be motivated to exhibit the modeled behavior. An individual must want to demonstrate what has been learned. Although parents and teachers are often models for children, children do not model all the behavior they observe their parents and teachers perform. Children model behaviors only when they are motivated to do so. Is there any doubt till now, students? Because last unit is unit 11 and 12. Both are. Now our learning part is finished. We discussed classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and social learning. Now we will discuss the cognitive part. Student, is it clear to everyone till now? So I will continue unit 11. Piaget theory of cognitive development in the sensory motor stages. Who is Piaget? Piaget is a very renowned person. Anyone who heard his name? No one heard his name? He stated that children view the world and understand events in a way which is different from that of adults. Their logic is different from that of adults. The nature of children's thinking changes from one age to the next. Piaget in this theory of cognitive development described these changes. As the child grows, not only does her store of information increase, but the manner in which the things also changes. At successive ages, her thought is qualitatively different from the earlier ages. Piaget stated that the development of thinking proceeds through four stages. First stage is sensory motor period, birth to 2 year. Next is pre-operational stage is 2 to 6 years. Next is concrete operational stage is 7 to 11 years. And last stage is formal operation stage. Formal operation. One of the major source of data for Piaget as he was formulating his theory of cognitive development was his observation of these three children. Piaget just observed only three children, वो भी उसके खुद के बच्चे थे तीनों, right? He observed their children while discussing cognitive development in recording of his children activities as well as those of other children to describe the changes in thinking that occur with age. Sensory motor stage. The first stage is sensory motor stage. During this stage, the child understands the world using her senses and motor capacities, therefore the name sensory motor. During this stage, the newborn adapts to her surrounding through her reflexes. The foundation of later learning are laid now as the baby modifies and adapts her reflexes. The infant begins to develop the capacity to think before acting towards the end of the sensory motor stage. The sensory motor period is divided into 6 substages. Third substage is 4 to 8 months. She is able to grasp objects, push them, kick them, and manipulate them. She is able to make things happen and acquires new action that produce interesting result on the objects. Fourth substage is being able to perform action intentionally leads to goal directed behavior. Fourth substage, which lasts from 8 to 12 months. From the point of view of problem solving, the stage is an important landmark. What is that problem solving? Any one of you observed that in this age, infant feel that if something is in front of him, it's only available on that time. If that things just go out from his eyes, just the thing is finished, right? But at the age of 8 to 12 months, he just think that no, it has happened. Or maybe I'll just give you one example. Uh, if some infant toys just go inside under the bed, so before at the age of 7 months or 6 months, he feels this that toy is just there is no one, no toys, right? Or maybe just if the toy disappear from his eyes, so he feels that there is nothing is there. But at this age, 8 to 12 months, he understand that no, that toy is just under that, but it is available, but it's not showing to him. It's not uh, appear in front of him, but it is there, right? He understand that things is go under, not disappear. Next, substage 5 lasts from 12 to 18 months. The child now experiments learning, tries out different way of doing things. He changes his actions. Substage 6 between 18 month and 2 year of age, a major shift in the child's manner of thinking occurs. The role of the caregiver. What the child inherits in terms of intelligence cannot be changed, but we can certainly influence the type of experiences that a child will have. Those who are looking after the infant must be sensitive towards this aspect and give her a variety of things to play with, such a ball, rattle, spoon, such as a ball, rattle, and spoon. The role of caregiver, whether at home or in the crèche, lies in the providing the infant stimulating experiences in keeping with her abilities. The first stage is finished. Next stage is pre-operational period. First stage is First stage is the sensory motor stage is finished. That sensory motor stage having 6 sub stages. We discussed that 6 sub stages. We discussed the role of the caregiver. And next last stage is pre-operational period. Once the child begins to represent events mentally and to use symbols, it marks the transition to the second stage of cognition development, the pre-operational period. In this block, we have a last unit. Is this clear till now, students? Am I audible to everyone? At least say yes or no. Any doubts? At least here say yes or no. Okay, thank you, Shruti. Unit 12, Piaget theory of cognitive development, the pre-operational stages, symbolic thoughts and fantasies. Anyone who can express the symbolic thoughts or what is that fantasies? What is that symbolic means? No one understands symbolic things? When the child play doctor, doctor, teacher, teacher, why? What is that? Symbolic things like doctor set symbol like a or infants pretending he is the doctor or he is the teacher. They are just using symbols. That plus sign is symbol of the medical kit, first aid kit, right? In fantasies, he is a doctor because he is wearing the doctor coat. Have you ever seen that that age student or children are doing the same thing? Imagination, no, I am a superhero, I am a Batman, I am a Superman. What are these? The fantasies and imagination of the preschoolers. Once a child can think symbolically, she can also hold mental representation of objects and events and picture these to herself even when they are not present. She can now imagine what may exist instead of knowing only about those things which she can see and hear. This enables her to know more. During the preschool period, the child is able to make such inferences about more complex and a larger variety of things. Fantasies and imagination. During the sensory motor period, the infant plays by manipulating objects. She pulls a string to make the toy monkey move or she beats the drum to make a sound. The element of imagination in play is added towards the end of the sensory motor period. Preschool also narrate imaginary situation stories to others. This is another aspect to make believe. Please underline this make believe play. What are these make believe play? You may have heard some children doing so. Animal, bird, and children are preschoolers. Favorite theme during such narration, like imaginary playmates. Some people, some preschoolers also invent an imaginary playmate who has a definite appearance and character. These playmates may be a boy or girl, animal or bird, and accompanies them wherever they go. The child often carries on conversation and play games with this playmate, as well as they just doing the pretend play. Pretend play, beside being fun, also help children to deal with feeling of disappointment and fear as well as with conflict. Another child who had been locked in a room by her mother later, I just give you the example, later made her toy monkey sit in a corner and continued to play with her other toys. In between her play, she would look at the toy monkey and say, sit there, you broke the plate. In this manner, the child acted out the situation in which she had felt upset and angry and expressed feeling which she could not do openly. Right? When we scolded our children, they are just pretending with the same thing with their toys. Have you, any one of you, observed that when baby just eating themselves, so they just try to eat their doll also, right? They just feed their doll, they just feed their pets, they just feed their any toy they love. Some cognitive abilities. Taking another person perspective. Salient characteristic of preschooler thinking, first through Piaget eyes and then through the eyes of the later researchers. In the manner we will trace how each cognitive ability is developed over the preschool year. It is important to know about these cognitive skills and abilities since we use them in our day-to-day lives. Acquiring concepts is based on these abilities, like taking another person's perspective. Being able to look at things from another person's perspective is an important ability and is the basis of most of our social interaction. If we are unable to consider the perspective of others, we will not be able to understand how people are thinking and feeling. A meaningful exchange will not be possible. Piaget traced the development of this ability in children. He stated that preschool children look at things entirely from their own perspective, from their own frame of references. If they are feeling unhappy, so must be other. If they close their eyes and cannot see something, they assume that other in the room cannot see it as well. I just give you the example the same now. When the toy just disappears, so they feel there is nothing. If they sleep, so everybody one is sleeping. They are not able to understand other person's perspective. Next is egocentrism. He stated that preschoolers do not understand that another person can look at the same thing in a different way and can arrive at different conclusions. In the final analysis, we can say that whether or not the child is able to take another's perspective depends upon the situation. There are individual differences as well. It is not as if the preschooler child is completely egocentric. She can consider another person's viewpoint, but she is more tied to her own perspective and to her own view of thinking than is an older child. Matching. 3 and 4-year-old, when given a collection of objects in which only two objects are identical and the rest are different, can find the identical pair. Right? In the matching way, they can match the things. Two similar things they can easily match. Identify common relationship. What is that? Identify common relationship like mother, father, table, chair. These are the common relationship. Shoe and socks, comb and hair, flower and vases. These are the common relationship. They can easily understand that. Next is conservation. Conservation is important. I just go through fastly because only 5 minutes are left to finish this. Conservation, it's mean there is an example. At the preschooler, children are not able to understand the size and shape concept. I'll just give you an example. Uh, Taking two glass in a take a one beaker and one glass, right? And same amount of juice or fruit shake pour in the glass and just pour the same amount in the beaker. But in the beaker, you child can see it's a lesser amount, right? So he is not able to understand that the size of the shape of the beaker, but he or she just see that the amount is lesser than the glass because it looks like that. Got my point? तो जो बच्चे को बीकर में कम दिख रहा है वो उसको ही समझेगा कि हाँ इसमें कम है. ही इज नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि बीकर का साइज ब्रॉड है, तो अमाउंट दोनों में सेम है, ग्लास में भी और बीकर में भी. और एट द एज ऑफ 7, 6 plus, he can easily understand the conservation. But at the preschool age, he is not able to understand that conservation. I think this we will discuss in the next class because few things are left. Students, please go through these things. Seriation, NMS are actually classification of group. What is that seriation? Anyone who know about that seriation? When we teach students to ascending and descending order. Comes in seriation. Increasing or decreasing in size, shapes. What is that? NMS. Right. At this age, preschooler children feels that everything has life. They are not understand toys don't have a life. I just give you the example. Preschooler children feel he's the actual doll, or doll is the actual human being. He feel the same thing. If I am crying, my doll also sad. If my doll just break, so he or she feels the pain, right? She's crying, she is hungry. The preschooler children feel the same thing towards their toys because they don't have that concept living and non-living things. It comes in animals. Acquiring concept of number. Preschooler children can easily understand the number 1, 2, or 3, but not more than that. They concept of time because they understand this is my time to wake up, this time to just go to school, this is the lunch break time, this is the food break time. They just learn according to the situation, but they are not able to understand this is a 3 o'clock, this is a 2 o'clock. No, he's not able to understand that time frame. I think this is clear to everyone. This unit is finished. We today we finished block 2 and 3. Students, do you have any doubt till now? Today we finished block 2 and block 3. In the next class, we will discuss block 4. Please go through block 4. If you have any doubts in that, we will discuss in the class. And you asked me the same query. आप लोगों का 03 जो कोर्स कंटेंट है, यू सेड कि वो कुछ क्वेरी कुछ प्रॉब्लम है. आई थिंक पब्लिश्ड प्रॉब्लम है, बाइंडिंग प्रॉब्लम है, और यूनिट्स आर मिक्स्ड. So please go through your please match your course content through the eGyan course. Download your course content from the eGyan and match your hard copy. Right? Today it is clear to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Download from the eGyan course your course content. Okay, and match your theory part. Match your hard copy. If there is any changes, please note down the page numbers, block numbers, unit numbers accordingly. Okay, and please inform me accordingly, because I have to inform to the actual department who looking for that, right?
Okay, ma'am.
So I'm just stopping the recording. Thank you, students.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Thank
I
you,
have
ma'am.
Thank
a
you.
doubt.
Yes, yes, Neha.
Ma'am, this is regarding ma'am, this is regarding submission of assignment, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, are we allowed to submit hard copy or it just online
No,
submission
you
only?
need to submit in hard copy to
Like to
your
our
regional
respective
center.
study centers, ma'am.
To your respective regional center.
Not the study center.